I'm back up and running. I had to get a cyst drained in my stomach. Some inflammation again. The inflammation is coming. Okay, so Ireland is still a part of England. The boat went through, didn't pass.
The way we normally tape the show is we try not to have scripts and writing staff too much. I mean, I primarily provide most of the questions and topics of what's going on the show, and there's no telling what can happen. There's no telling what'll get under my skin. There's no telling what kind of issues. I could be getting a phone call in the middle of a broadcast and have someone text me something, and the next thing you know, I'm on one. I just sort of let it go. War.
Get the guns, get the bazookas, Here recently, apparently...
I don't understand what it is with me and the word bazooka. I don't know if it's just stimulating but I just find that you hear about all this weaponry and the different types of budget cuts that have gone on in the country domestically for the last 4 to 5 years, let's say. There's all this information out there about how, they're going to cut this, they're going to cut that, they're going to cut $30 billion out of the SNAP program. There's not enough money to run courthouses. There's not enough money. But, if there's a bomb that needs to be made or some destruction that has to take place, we have all the funding in the world for that, and we're ready to blow it up.
War about money. We're going to have war about my prestige. We're going to have war about what my needs are. My interests are war, and I need to dominate you, and I need to control you. I need you.
This video, the commentary on war was just... I woke up one morning and I was just really angry about just all the stuff that's been going on, even with the president who I've supported. I answered phones for Barack Obama. I did the phone banks. I did a show from the call center a couple of years ago, and right now I've just gotten to the point where it's just like, this country is suffering. And it just, I don't know, that morning I lost it.
More. 4 more years of war. We're going to war it up. We're going to war it down. We're going to blow up these children. We're going to make sure that we don't have a domestic responsibility.
That was really it too, I think, when we did the panel on Gaza, and I was just seeing all the...
War, yeah!
And that's just
get the bazookas, come on! Everybody get something, get a gun! You know how to fight good! Practice jiu-jitsu, or give me mine too, because we need war! I'm from Utah!
And this is the breakdown, yeah.
See? I'm from Utah. You from Nebraska. War!
And then I do that sometimes to kind of show the audience that I'm not completely out of my mind. I'm a little crazy, but every once in a while, I'll pause in the middle of the rant to let them know that, okay, this is my baseline. This is what I'm really talking about. And then I just go back up again. And it takes a lot of energy out of me, but I really want people to know that massacres are taking place in Gaza. It's not just like a drive-by shooting in Los Angeles or some of the beatings we've seen. I mean, yes, that's horrible, but just multiply that, and you'll understand what I mean. It's just one incident after another where they're showing this footage, and we did that's what I was going to say. When we did the panel, I was just like, look at all these pictures of all these kids, like with their hair burnt, and like the Israeli government is talking about how they are trying to look for tunnels that they claim that, I don't know if they just found out about the tunnels, but this is like the 5th or 6th major attack on Gaza that I've witnessed in my lifetime, and I'm only 47 years old, and this has been going on for 60 years, and every few years, at first it's the rockets, now it's the tunnels, now it's the UN schools being blown up, United Nations schools being blown up. I mean, can you imagine the kind of credibility problem America would have if we accidentally or undercoverly, kind of purposefully blew up a United Nations school. So once I saw those pictures, that morning when I did this commentary, I was like,
who's got the bazooka?
So,
Give me the money. Call Halliburton.
Yeah, it's Halliburton, it's George Bush, this sort of mentality that allows us, to teach countries like Israel. I mean, Israel is not older than the United States. We're sort of Israel's, babysitter. We protect Israel, and then instead of humility, I think it cultivates a sort of grandiosity out of Israel, where they are literally just over there sort of taunting people with the idea that, everybody has the right to exist, including the Israelis, but at the cost of demeaning people in this sort of camp called the Gaza Strip, where these Palestinians are just literally suffering when it comes to water, electricity, movement. I mean, we're talking about 2014, and these people are being told when they can move. I was talking to one of our friends who's actually got family from that part of the world, who I didn't even know that you weren't allowed to travel without, this real sort of Gestapo sort of Hitler secret police way of doing it, and your papers, please, in Gaza, and it's almost as bad as those times during the Jews and what they had to do with putting up with Hitler. And I just feel that the Gaza Strip is we've just sort of accepted that these people must be treated like Israel's paying the Germans back or something by being just, I mean, the crisis of the Holocaust is horrible, and no one can ever really say that they kind of knows how that feels, except a couple of groups of people. One group of people, I would say, maybe during the apartheid and certain parts of Africa, and I think a lot of people forget that, this region is a part of Africa, but I really believe that people in the Gaza Strip can kind of tell you what it's really like. Another video that I wanted to kind of highlight is one morning I had watched
some comments about former President Dick Cheney.
I called him former president by mistake, and he did Charlie Rose's show on public radio, and here's some of what I said.
Has the audacity to try to criticize with some sort of fake-ass veracity about what we've done with this fucking Iraq and catastrophe that he and his president at the time, Bush, created. And the idea that he gonna come along and act as though we need to sing the same old song is wrong. You're wrong, Dick.
Yeah, I can't stand to listen to his voice for over 20 to 30 seconds. I am enraged with why, everybody does stuff that's inappropriate, and I think we all go through life with certain trials and tribulation, but Dick Cheney is the epitome of what a war criminal really is, in the capacity of what job he had and how he sold a lot of all this stuff. He marketed that war. He was basically paid by Halliburton, I believe, to coerce the country and the nation and the president, who was sort of a puppet at the time, to really blindly just sort of march into this situation. And he didn't get it right, and to act as though that he is now the CEO of some sort of think tank for Iraq is ridiculous, and I was pissed.
From all of this stuff that blows up. And I can't believe that he is just, I'm embarrassed I have a lot of respect for PBS and what they do, and I respect Charlie Rose and how he's moonlighting and still working for CBS and all of that. But to give Dick Cheney, former vice president, some sort of credibility when he needs to be in Europe at The Hague for war crimes.
Yeah,
This man does not even know how to define the illegal use of torture.
It's really a sad situation to actually believe that someone is respectfully listening to Dick Cheney in regards to anything strategical about anything, particularly the longest war in the nation's history, for the most part, in modern history, and for the fact that we still are, they are more comfortable with blaming the current administration than looking at what started the situation. And that's disturbing, considering the kind of scrutiny that they give other situations like Benghazi or the border problem with all the guns and all the stuff that went on with Eric Holder. And I now see clearly a little bit more clear that, President Obama doesn't walk on water. I mean, the last guy I saw walking on water was mopping a floor. But to say that all that other behavior that was going on before President Obama won the election is bullshit. We really do know that Obama was just sort of handed some things that I don't think, practiced the courage to change. And that's one of the reasons why I've changed my attitude toward the president. Not as demeaning as I would describe President Bush, but in a lot of ways, especially domestically, in regards to the youth, I'm talking about immigration, education, and the situation in Gaza. I just think that President Obama has really let a lot of people down. And I think that's the only vacuum that allows somebody like Dick Cheney to have anything to say.
Dick Cheney, shut up! The name of this video is Dick Cheney, shut the hell up! You don't know what you're talking about. We should not be in that country. We are not going to defend your fucking golden handshake from Halliburton.
I've thought a lot about like the language that we use, some of the cussing, the vulgarity, and I think it provides a certain clarity. And the name of the show, talking shit. Part of the environment on the show is, my alter ego or whatever I'm doing. This is a guy that's at home. He's disabled. I am. I don't really have anything going on except depression and a lot of my other difficulties physically. I've been in the hospital 5 times in the last 2 years. And I just get so frustrated with my own personal bullshit. And then to be sitting and just watching some of this stuff and not have a forum for people like myself to express themselves is even more debilitating. And so I let it all out. This video is an example of that.
When it comes to that company, we don't do shit, Dick Cheney. You all have a burden. Take this country back from Dick Cheney, and by way of posting something on this video, telling him to shut the fuck up.
And that part of the reach that we have right nowadays is Twitter. Without Twitter, with Twitter, we've almost doubled the views that we receive, and I call it shooting them out. Some people call it spamming. What I try to do is I try to search and find people who may or may not be interested in what I'm saying, and just ask them, what they think about what's going on. We had recently there was a police beating in the city where we moved the studio, and that video was so chilling. It was a group of kids that actually filmed it, a group of young adults, and we got a hold of the footage, and you could literally just hear the kids in the video, like, horrified at what this police department had, got together. And I thought the guy was Caucasian, and I found out later that he was, in fact, a Hispanic man who apparently was being shocked and tased, but being told, to turn over. It's like surrender, but you're not allowed to move any of your body, your body functions, because we are tasing you. And just the idea that they have this man on the ground beating him and like literally being filmed with no fear of how it even looked, let's say. I mean, because a lot of times police, when they beat, like when they shot Michael Brown in broad daylight, there's all this rationalizing. But here, there's clearly people walking around. There's clearly people using their cameras, filming. And these policemen are just sort of really going at it on this guy. And this video, I had to do something. I got the video. I was working on something that night, and JP and his family got it to me, and I went right on the air, and I don't know, I just got really excited about how, why aren't these people bothered by this? You can literally you can hear the sticks hitting this guy's bones. And the girls in the car, the people in the car are just horrified. In Carson, California, on a bright sunny day, you can see the sky. It's a little cloudy sky and little beautiful blue skies with a little cloud. And, a man is laying in the street being tased with all this electricity, being told by 4 or 5 officers to listen and do what they say as they tase him and hit his bones so hard that you can hear the batons crackling on his skin and on his bones. We need more people talking shit. Quite frankly, I don't know if this show's going to pass off the scene or whatever, but as part of a Black Man with Hands production, I mean, we always have It's Time to Eat, and we're trying to cultivate that, a new idea, a new pilot as a black person, quote unquote, which is another thing. They have this show out now called Blackish, and we were already kind of looking at something like that. But as far as our show goes, voicing and dispelling myths about blacks and other races, and really asking people to really look at, like, where do these myths or where does this racist, where do these racist little jokes or comments or truths come from? Is it mythological? Do all blacks eat watermelon as much as all Hispanic people like beans or whatever, and just have fun with it, and so show the humanness that I know a lot of white people that love my chicken when I cook it, and they are nowhere near black, So it's just, part of what we're seeing on the internet is a lot of ignorant new people like myself who don't know a lot about social media, playing around with it and trying not to abuse it, and coming up with ideas like talking shit, like It's Time to Eat, and being a part of the Black Man with Hands production plan. 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 Plan.